the regular council meeting of the Village of Armada. And all welcome, please. We're going to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. If everyone will stand. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all kindly. We'll have roll call, please, Ms. Clark.
Shaw.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Conan.
Here.
Wolof.
Here,
Ballard.
Here.
Sleds.
Here.
Belkey.
Here.
all present. Now, next is the approval of the agenda. What is the council's wishes, please?
Mr. President, I'll move that the agenda be accepted as presented.
Support.
By Shaw,
I do need to pull, I'm gonna pull an item.
Well,
Item E, I'm just gonna wait till the next meeting for that,
okay.
'cause I don't have a firm quote
So as amended,
As
both of you?
amended.
as amended. Sorry, Lyle.
Alright.
any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. At this time, the floor is opened up to citizen comments. You state your name for the record, please, and then you have 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Sam Belkey. I live at 73715 South Fulton, as if you don't know. And I'm checking in on the parking topic. I thought it was going to be on the agenda tonight. I'm a little surprised that it's not. Hopefully we can at least get an update if there was something that was going on. I just wanted to reiterate that the business owners, the building owners, the residents, we want to be part of the discussion. While we understand it's primarily the village's job to manage the parking, there's a lot that we can do too. We can redirect tenants and employees out of C1 parking and things. There's things we could do together. So I'm asking again that we set up a meeting, that everybody be on the team at the table, and we can work on a solution together.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else, please?
Yes, hi. Dr. Julie Lefevre, owner of Main Street Chiropractic. I also own the building 23024 East Main. Here also concerning the same thing. I was here at the last meeting discussing, and I turned in a proposal to look at the parking issue. Again, along with Sam, I'm a little disappointed to see that it didn't make the agenda tonight, that we were discussing that it might be after I talked to a few of you after the meeting, and during the meeting it sounded like you guys were gonna look into it for us. Still wishing that something will be done, and we'll see you guys back here in a couple weeks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Patty Lemieux, here for the Armada Area Historical Society. We are trying to raise funds to purchase a Michigan marker program. A marker to describe our village, put at the four corners or wherever. We're a little shy of our goal. We're asking for any kind of donation. I'll give you paperwork and you can look it over, read what we're looking for. And we have an agenda of the monies that we've taken in so far. We still are shy though, and wondered if the village would be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I would like to address it as such that the council has been working on it. I'm sorry to say that I was in the hospital for 3 weeks at least, and I wasn't aware of some of the stuff. In fact, this is first I heard of yours.
Okay.
So, and the others, it's going to take a little bit to work on the parking, I feel. But we've looked into this somewhat before, and I know as we go, we're going to need probably more, and we need it now. I understand that. So I think our council will diligently look at it, with no doubt, is what I'm saying. So if that can help our thoughts, that'll be good.
Marv, I'm gonna add to it during my, it's in my liaison report. So I've had this, Dave, Jeff, and I have had this guy, and I'll present
Okay,
our thoughts here. It's why it's on an agenda top, because there isn't a motion yet.
good, okay.
But I can share thoughts, and old Ross too was part of the discussion.
Well, that was something I didn't know, but.
Nope, you weren't,
I'm more than, Chris, I'm more than welcoming, because I know our council works at, they work at different things all the time. So I'm very pleased to hear that. Thank you. Gentlemen, thank you. Anyone else? If not, we will move on. The next one is sort of a big word. The word is presentations. And this is recognizing the fact that we had a village treasurer for at least 27 years. You know, you hardly see that anymore. Get to 25 now. But she decided to stay more, apparently. So of course we all said, Joe, you don't want to retire. So
You tried.
Joe Wade there. You want to stand a second?
This is weird. I've been through so many awards over the years, but I've never thought about mine.
Joe, this is a big one. And so we thank you for all the years that you've given our community. And the thing is, you will probably still live in our community.
Yeah.
Oh, they were working on that house.
Like I've talked to you several times. And if there's something coming up, I'm quite sure you're gonna be questioned.
That's no problem.
And I'll be a big one to do that. And along with our council, our residents, you have served our council and community for years, good years. We've had some bad, we've made up for it. And you always seem to come, you was at the plate. You always took the bat and you went forward with it. So how true, you know, Joe, you did it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I couldn't stand, so I had to, excuse me. So,
We're gonna present her with,
yes,
okay,
I'm
so,
gonna stand up. Give me a chance.
there you go, okay. Certificate of recognition presented November 14th, 2022 to Joe E. Adair. This certificate is proudly presented in recognition and appreciation of nearly 27 years of dedicated service to the Village of Armada in your position as treasurer. The fact that you have held this elected position and have run unopposed through approximately 13 elections, now I wasn't sure on the number because you were 4 years in the beginning,
Right.
shows that the residents of the village have appreciated and understood your outstanding morals and dedication. Your professional, conscientious consideration and conduct as treasurer has entitled you to a retirement full of joy. We, the village council, staff, and co-workers are honored to have known and worked with you. We hope you find your retirement to be as distinguished as was your time with the village. And we really hope that you will be able to see the sights during your travels and that you will finally finish your home projects. You have all the time in the world to do that now.
I do.
Yeah.
Thank
She
you.
told us several years that I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna work on drywall.
Yeah, she's still doing that. Yeah.
I'm a man and I don't work with drywall. She took, rolled up her sleeves, she's at it.
Well, maybe we can call her for.
Do you hire out?
Yeah, I was gonna say, everybody's looking for a drywaller.
Well, we always look for contractors. So if you fit the description, you fill this out, hey, we'll hire you.
Yeah, hopefully she can just enjoy her retirement.
Right.
You earned it.
Well, I thank everybody.
Thanks again,
It's
Joe.
been a pleasure. I've enjoyed my job. Never thought I'd be here. But it's been fulfilling.
Honored to have you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to work in my own hometown for people that I know. People that I have to work with, Jeff, Curtis, I don't know how to do it without Curtis.
Not that any of us would do without either of them.
Exactly. I appreciate all the help that everybody's given me, all the support. It's just been a great fit. I enjoyed being here. And Becky. Can't leave out Becky. Becky's there with all the info. So,
She is.
Very good, so, Joe, once again.
Thank you.
thank you.
Should say, I'm out of here.
Do the drop the mic thing. Just
Yeah.
walk out now. I'm done.
Next is our administrative reports. Commissioner liaison reports. We have a code enforcement copy in our packet. And then the police action report and the planning commission meeting minutes are also in your packet. So first we'll go with the commissioner's report. Who would like to start?
I'll give it a shot. So I am very happy to say after 4 years of working this, that vessel number 2 at the water treatment plant is finally done, which completes the last of our 4 filtration vessels and the replacement of the filtration media in those. About $750,000 to do all this, and so I really appreciate council's support over the last 4 years to help get the money together and to get this done. So these vessels should be good if you use the media that was in the vessels here previously. You use the time that was good for, which was about 14, 15 years. I'd be happy to pass that on to somebody down the road to replace it again. We are going to start saving for it in the budget, so it maybe won't be so hard on the village when we do it the next time around. I do want to say that the federal COVID relief money, the ARPA dollars that we got, which is about $190,000, $185,000, give or take, all went to support that. So it did reduce the cost that the village had to pay. But so we will start giving you guys updated reports on the arsenic levels out of those vessels. They all should be extremely low now, or close to non-existent. So again, that's done. Very happy about that. We did get a general estimate for the generator for the village office. Still some things to discuss with the company that we were getting an estimate out of. It's not not meant to be a specific estimate for work, just a ballpark idea, because I think it's something that we should perhaps look at putting into the general budget, the general fund budget, and do this coming fiscal year. And so this would be a sheltered diesel generator with an automatic start, so if power goes out, it automatically starts on its own, which means it's got a battery. Battery's got to be maintained through a trickle charger. I say that just to indicate that it's, those are not necessarily cheap. So the cost of doing something like that is in the $35,000 to $40,000 range. Again, I'll try to tighten that up a little bit so that we can put some numbers into the budget for next year if council wants to move forward on that. We did have our third infrastructure upgrade planning meeting. It's a third of 4 meetings. This is street commissioner, sewer commissioner, water commissioner, the DPW superintendent, looking at village infrastructure upgrades in the future. we are pretty close now to being able to identify where the, although if you look at it, it's not obvious, it's pretty obvious in some cases, where the worst streets are, but where the bad water lines are, the bad sewer lines, bad manholes, things like that. We're very close to being able to now prioritize those for corrective action. When we're gonna do that is a little bit up in the air at this point, but you can't do that without having an idea of where the bad infrastructure is. So we'll have a fourth meeting probably in the January timeframe where we will have an updated capital improvement plan. You recall we had a capital improvement plan first phase about 1.5 years ago that identified funding, potential funding sources, and itemized, not really prioritized, but itemized bad infrastructure in the village and put cost to it. This will be a much more surgical look at it, and again, this will be available for us to start talking about it in our fiscal year 23-24 budget. Not that we'll do anything with it, but we'll start to have an idea of what the cost is. The geolocation of the storm and sanitary sewer mains was also completed. That was a task that was part of this. That's been completed. We got some great maps that we need to take a look at just to error check them. But those are in, and the street boring activity that we did also to understand what's underneath the streets that would potentially need to be repaired, which is, you really need that to be able to determine what the cost of a repair would be. We have that report as well. I pass that on to Chris and Dave Wagner, the DPW superintendent, to take a look at that. That's also very critical to this infrastructure planning. So a lot of things now starting to come together, and hopefully early next year we'll have a prioritized list out for council of what our recommended plan of attack is for any infrastructure upgrades that we do. And then last but not least, it didn't make it into the report, but you've got in front of you a water usage report. I get this from the fire department. You recall that the fire department draws out of the water tower occasionally for emergency use and for some training use, and it indicates the gallons there and the approximate cost of that. So over the last December 19 to now, it's a couple years, 2.5 years, I guess it is. The total cost of that, if you put a cost to it, is $3,044. So probably good use of that water. And that's water we don't charge them for, based upon the agreement for the use of for having the water tower on township land. Question? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next.
You wanna go yours, cause I don't do a lot of it, so.
Okay, I'll do this, thank you. The police department, the police action report for October 22nd. In the month of October 2022, there were 172 traffic tickets issued. The driving while license was suspended was 8. Concealed carry weapon arrest was 1. Assist EMS was 5. Assist other agencies was 9. Suspicious situation 1. Civil dispute 1. Dog and animal complaint 1. Disturbance 1. Domestic disturbance 1. Death investigation 1. Juvenile related 2. Arrest warrants were 1. Lost and found property was 1, and miscellaneous calls for service was 10. As of October 31st, 22 miles on patrol cars was 431 was 79,516. 432 is the F-150 was 14,352, and 433, the unmarked Dodge car, was 63,047.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard. Any questions? If not,
Two items, please, Mr. President. So first, I'll go the short one, the easy one. The Lathrop Street extension, the surveying has been complete, the markings are out. I have to get the final report from Roe as to what the numbers are, and once I see what the actual property lineage, we can then go further into what and how to market, how to use it, how to even work with the resident if there's, any larger disparities in size of access or whatnot, so. But it is there, you can see the stakes out in general, but the final survey report has not been issued yet. They got backlogged here at the end of the October, beginning of November, so.
Did you put together a summary report to send to, and that, I say give it to me, I'll give it to them, but,
Yes, yeah, you're right, but yes, that would be.
okay.
tentative plan to start.
So it can, for Act 51, if we want to keep and maintain getting credit for that, then we have to basically make sure that is a road, which starts with markings and signage. But part of what I want to do there is, before I mark and sign it, is what is it? What is that parcel, property, by size, by location specifically, and then once we know there, we can see what we have to do with it next. I mean, again, let's say it is, I'll just do the easy one. If it was the standard 66-foot right-of-way, that puts you 1.5 feet from the house, which would mean we would have a challenge. So we would then, I'd be bringing the council and working with Jeff on, hey, how do you then put an easement or something together that allows to have X amount of, let's say, permanent access, and still gives the right-of-way for a road. I did that purposely because for 20 feet, we can go down to 41 feet or so and still have a respectful road right away there, so.
And one of the main objectives of doing all this with that piece of property for Lathrop is for future use, if you ever get someone who wants to develop behind it.
Correct, and that's one thing I did bring up is and then they did validate through other records, that parcel does not go all the way through. It's not village property, it ends before it.
Does it really?
Yep.
Is that?
Had to check it twice.
So you couldn't take a road through there?
You can't go all the way through and go back to our parcel back there, yeah, no.
Do we know, I'm assuming we know who owns that by GIS, is that Fritz or?
I don't.
No, actually, good question, and I didn't know, we don't, but I do, it's in the report, right?
So it does tell you who does.
Well, it didn't, I pushed that one to ask
Okay.
for it. Once I knew that was one of our intentions, like, hey, then, again, we wanna know exactly where is it, and then what's left, and then what we would have to do, or what do we wanna do for
But
it.
it's an adjoining property.
It is an adjoining property, yes. Yeah, they went back twice to.
Well, how far does
searches
it
and
go?
stuff.
Where does this approximately, is that water, is the?
Not far past the garden that's back there right now.
Okay, that's where our property ends, just past that garden?
Thereabouts, yeah. But like I said, there is staking there now, so. And not to be mistaken for the pink stake that was there, which was for the soil boring.
No. Okay, yeah, we did bore.
We had stakes in there originally because of the samples that were being done, as Ross was pointing out, so. So more to come on that one, and once I got the final report, I talked to the engineering, I talked to Road on Monday, and was looking for the final, and he said they're running a couple weeks behind, so. A quick update, again, before that these folks are here for, is the Telto activities. So it's this week and next week, and leading into Thanksgiving week is gonna be the activities. There is a sewer, collar, what's the name of the piece? That's gotta be rebuilt.
Yeah.
I call it a collar, the extension that degrades. The bridge, Tara and then Crown will be doing the cement work at the West Main, as well as then the grading, drainage on Lathrop Street. Will come into play.
Thank you.
Okay, now, the last stop is the downtown parking. So after last meeting, I was talking with Jeff, and I had a discussion regarding what I wanted to do is go back to basics with it. And that is, to what extent, is the village, should our responsibilities be, if any? Does the village law, does our code of, anything specifically talk to downtown and parking? Then I went and looked into the master plan. Master plan, in the commercial section, there's also a infrastructure section, which covers roads and transportation, and then there's a section on funding. Now, the big thing in the master plan in particular was the creation or the founding of the downtown plan, as well as then which had led to the formation of the DDA for such projects, capital projects. Then Jeff and I were talking about other municipalities. Jeff, you mentioned something about Ferndale. I did go and do some checking. It turns out a lot of the, in this part of the state, Rich and Associates is a third party that's very well known for doing downtown parking studies and giving you the recommendations. And then I did find Rowe has done some too. So what my thought is putting the pieces together here is looking at bringing on a third party. And again, I can guess quotes from Rowe and then this Rich and Associates. They're from Southfield and Rowe is Lapeer. For performing such a study. The scoping activity then I would also bring in, and as I heard, I think it was Sam that said it, to have representation of the business, come in and provide that as to what the scope and any other comments or concerns they have for it. Let the entity do the activity, which will then effectively bring in what are your assets, what's the liabilities, and what's the gap, and then how would they recommend you fix the gap, and then sources of funding and things like that. And then we can proceed with that information, much like planning does with McKenna. You know, doesn't mean it's the rule, it's the gospel. You get a report back, doesn't mean you have to follow it, you know, to the nth degree, but it is, at least it is an unbiased and decision by those that make a living on doing parking studies. I did look at about a half a dozen reports. I tried to find the smaller communities. I thought particularly interesting was Portland, Michigan, Berkeley, smaller but a high traffic though. It's again, but small versus, you know, they really had the city of Detroit, Ann Arbor, Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, which that's not going to fit us at all. No. So, but the Portland and even Berkeley, I thought, were you know, comparable, and then the scope and the results that they found fit. And that had to do with, you know, and a lot of it happened here when one of the DDA projects was redoing the parking in the downtown, creating the landscaping, the cornerscapes, the angled parking, and that are all things that they hit on right off the bat to do, as well as, and we all you know, signage and markings of your current, you know, parking. This goes along with the retail ring analysis that's in the master plan. It is dated, so it probably the numbers aren't applicable today. It's 10 years. Well, it was released 10 years ago. So, and I think if I'm not mistaken, when I was the chairman of planning, that's when we started it, which was back in 05 and 06. So it didn't get released till 2012. So nonetheless, what it does is it looks at the size and growth of businesses, the amount of revenue generated, and then goes over a per capita. And then goes at 1 mile, 3 mile, 5 mile to tell you what it is you can expect out of it from your business needs. And ultimately what it says is typically 70% of your bit is within 1 mile of your source. And again, that's, you know, just some rules of thumb come out of it, but it is a very, very useful, very powerful tool. So that was what I was gonna bring to the table today, and as I heard, that's why I was keeping in touch with Ross too, of who would be here, and I figured Julie would be. And Sam, there was someone else that was here too, besides the Armada, besides the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so, but anyway, so my proposal would be is to see quotes from both Rich and Associates and Rowe for a parking study. To engage the business leader here as to define that scope that goes to the quote, and then present that at an upcoming meeting as to get that approved. I don't have any idea.
What would a study like this run?
I have no idea.
I mean, everybody, we don't really need a study to know that at certain times, maybe downtown, you know, parking is, you know, lacking. I mean, we know that. We don't need a study to tell us that.
Yeah, but peak numbers aren't the
And I don't
plan
think,
either.
I may be wrong, but if we have this study, I'm not sure the Chamber of Commerce wants to pay for it, or the business people from downtown wanna pay for that study. I'm guessing you probably don't.
Depends on
Now,
cost.
the village did buy one parking lot for the downtown, as I think you all know, down by, just past the printware. We purchased that, how long, 15, 20 years ago, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we also accepted, parking, from the bank, kinda behind a squirreled away bookstore and cozy, and we maintain that for parking. So, even though we still don't have adequate parking, it's not like the village hasn't done anything, and we haven't looked into this before. But,
And we looked into right here on Burke.
pardon?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Looked into-
The garage,
Yeah,
Larry's.
we looked at that by
Larry's.
Larry's one time, but
Mhm.
that was just too cost prohibitive.
At the time.
The parking lot that we do have at API, I did talk to Dave Wagner about, and they are gonna restripe that, it'll be in the spring. And we can probably do it ourselves at a savings in cost. They have the striping machines you could buy, I've done it myself. And
Yeah.
we can go talk to him.
24 spots there, plus 17 on the road. That's what they do. Then there's some signage and some markings, and then, like I said, then the ultimate is what are the real needs, and then what are the, what are the options to fulfill those needs? So, which are beyond us, I would say.
you know, sometimes a lot of the customers don't like to walk too far. I mean, we know that, you
Yeah.
know, but,
You know, we
It's a
can't,
challenge.
we can't put up another story of parking downtown.
no, it's limited sometimes.
Now, it's stuff like when we went, Ross and I did our master planning certification, I mean, they give you, it's 500 feet max from your source, and quite frankly, the one that about 500 feet is picking in town, that's longer than the downtown is. Well, all the way down as you go past it to Howard's place. So, but still, again, it puts you, it gives you a frame of reference to stay within, and then obviously there's nuances, and that's why I said about bringing the, our business leaders in. You know, the approach is sound that these folks bring to the table, but again, every community is unique, you know. We have some seasonal aspects that are different than others, like with the fall, what it brings to town, plus then the overall character, which is a little different. So obviously, there's some feedback there that can definitely help them, you know, framework a proposal coming back to us. Again, I don't know the cost, none of those sites had any information at all, and I didn't expect that they would. But we'll see.
At least you can get a quote.
I can't, exactly, can't hurt to get the-
Can't hurt to get the quotes. Nothing hard. On the planning commission, we have a new member that's coming aboard, so we have to approve that tonight, it's on the new business agenda. We also approved a land split over by north there where the Baptist church is, we approved his land split. And then there's another land split that, it was residential that we could not do, the planning commission has no authority over because of the nature of the split.
What is the split down by the Baptist church?
The school, I think it's the old school.
Oh, where the school was?
Yes,
Are
I
they
do.
gonna split that?
Yeah.
And they're selling that piece of property?
I don't know if he's
or-
selling it or.
They're just splitting it and evening out the piece in between where they took down the
Yeah,
cubicles,
right.
and they're just putting a little more property onto one as opposed to the other, just extended it by about 6 feet.
Yeah.
So it's just a boundary move.
Right.
Will they eventually use that for parking?
They may, they just,
Could.
yeah, they just redid their parking lot on the other side, they may extend it.
It looks
around,
really,
something that they-
really good over there. They did a lot of work over
Yeah,
there.
he's really doing a nice job.
Yeah.
New sign.
Mike, it's, understand that the business owner down by, on South Fulton is probably gonna bring that to ZBA.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
So he's talked to Dennis
okay.
Lemieux, who's the president of the ZBA now.
Right, what is this about?
This is the, Doc Krause's old veterinary clinic.
Oh, yeah.
And you got 2 houses on either side, and at some point in the past, that was allowed to go forward. And now they wanna split out one of the houses, and you've got an access driveway there that, I mean, there's no setback on the side yard. And, so that may be a hardship that he will suggest that exists, because he has no real other opportunity to split that out otherwise.
Right.
And he didn't put the driveway there.
And the
It was
access is.
pre-existing condition
Correct.
that
Yeah.
was allowed in the past, and so, we'll see. I'm the ZBA secretary, as everybody knows. I've not seen anything yet in terms of a application, but I understand he's talking to Dennis,
Okay.
so.
Good.
I also wanted to tell everybody, we got our signs, our Purple Heart signs came on Friday. And just show everybody how nice they look.
Oh, wow, very nice.
Very nice.
Wow. Get it reflected. Nice.
So,
Hold it up for Stacy.
oh, I don't wanna be on
I
it.
say make sure
so.
so it doesn't reflect back at you.
You can have a body,
That looks ridiculous.
a body with no head.
You and Joe in there.
Yeah. You done? Okay. So my frame of thought right now is maybe we'll stick them on like, the road signs first. Because we still gotta figure out who owns the properties that all of our Welcome to Armada signs are on. And we need to, really start looking into that, so before we stick them over there, I'd rather just stick them on the signs coming into town. I do know that Sue Howard, who was the driving force behind this, by the way, she had contacted the county, and she called me the day I placed the order for these, and said that the county was gonna make the signs for free. I'd already committed to these, and it was $900. This is well worth it. I like the design of these. The county brought them to her, and they say Township of Armada, not Village. So, I was very disappointed in that, because I had plans for those signs, because I thought, well, great, if we're getting 4 more for free, we'll take one of the AMVETs, we'll put one in our park, maybe put one on Sue Howard Street. But now that they say township, we're not going to do that.
Just wait it out.
Well, I don't know if you can figure it out, but she said that she would, I guess, was gonna talk to the township to see if they too wanted to become a Purple Heart community and donate the signs to them.
Right.
I was thinking that I may contact the county myself and say, hey, you made those for free. Now the township's gonna get them for free, how about making us a few more? I haven't done
Or
it
just
yet.
give them the ones that say township and ask the county to make us.
But I don't have the township ones, Sue has them, and she wasn't comfortable, saying anything to them, because they did do it for free, and it was a beautiful gesture. So she didn't wanna, and I don't blame her.
Rock the boat and set that.
And it was very generous, but I'm thinking maybe I'll ask them, can't hurt, they might, worst they can say is no. So, if I can't get 3, maybe 2. Again, I think it'd be a nice thing to have at the AMVETS Hall. That could be nice for our park. If I can put one on Sioux Street, that'd be great, but if I can't, it's not a big deal, so. But,
Okay.
Should be nice too also, at our 4 ends of the village.
well, that's what these are. I have 4 of these, this is just one.
I know that was our intent.
And we're gonna put them, like I said, I think for the time being, we're gonna stick them on the road signs, on the, whatever, the welcome door, wherever we can put them, right at the end, before we stick them into the gardens, so.
Very good, thank you. You have the code enforcement report in your packet. The police action, Mr. Ballard, did you have
He did.
further?
We did.
No, I'm all set.
Chief is in our audience. Chief, do you have any words of good wisdom?
Other than, Blake's, we had, always a traffic problem during Blake's, with the heavy traffic enforcement. And you can tell after Halloween, Halloween, it just drops right off, so traffic is a lot better than it was. There was one of the person in the, it has the complainer was happy, she called me up and she was happy with the enforcement we were doing, and I got some other positive feedback from other business owners and residents, so.
Very good, thank you. And the planning commission minutes are also recorded in your packet. We're gonna move on to general business. The consent agenda, so which is approval of the regular council meeting minutes as of October the 24th, payment of bills, and close the village office on Wednesday before Thanksgiving, 23rd of November. And then there's also special event permit, which is being requested by the Armada Fair, or better known as a Armada Agricultural Society. And that's for their Christmas parade. And I believe, Joe, is it December
3rd.
December the 3rd?
Yeah, First Saturday. First Saturday.
They're taking it over for the Lioness, who don't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of gone full circle. The Christmas lighted parade started with the fair. They did it. And then when they didn't, it kind of wound up Patty Tyson and myself were running the whole thing, putting it all together. Then it was just, the fair board just didn't want to do it anymore. So then the Lioness offered to do it. So I continued to work with the Lioness, and they did it for 23 years.
A long time.
And then when the Lioness disbanded and was separated from the Lions Club, nobody
The
took
fair
over.
took it back.
So the fair took it back, so it's come for full circle,
Yeah.
back to in the hands of the fair.
So all remember, December the 3rd, come out and be jolly.
Mr. President, I'll move the consent agenda be accepted as presented.
Support. Now, Mr. Clark,
Yeah.
how come you beat you, Bill?
You just passed around the trigger.
Okay.
He's leaning forward, I'm leaning backwards.
So here's got up for.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next is the sewer plant update. Mr. Clark, do you have anything first?
I just got a couple of things. Things are running well down there. I stopped in the other day and everything's running good. I just received, just the other day, it's called the Settlement Agreement and Mutual Release, or Dispute Resolution and Mutual Release from Rowe. There were a few items that came up down there that, due to incomplete, inaccuracies in documents provided by Rowe, where the contractors had to revise some things. We had three main items. They're listed on this sheet, which I'm gonna pass off to Jeff. I wanna go through, make sure we're all paid off. There's no other outstanding bills to any of the construction companies or anything. And this would be money coming back from Rowe to us, in about the total of almost close to $35,000 between the three things. So Jeff's gonna give it a quick look-see. We're gonna backtrack and make sure we don't have anything else outstanding, because once we agree to this, there's no going back on them for any of this. So we just wanna make sure we've got all of our ducks in a row. So we're probably be a few more weeks before I'll be bringing this back. So that's all I've got right now.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. That's a real good word of joy. When we receive money, we like it. So, and I enjoy it. That I say is very good work. Very good work. We're gonna go to new business. We're recognizing request by the Armada Historical Society for recognition of a local nonprofit organization. I hope everybody excuses me for my voice. So, the reason I had a tube down my throat for 6 days, you know, in the hospital. So it's healing up, it's doing better. So I hope to holler at the next meeting. Very good. Who wants to, do us that?
I'll move to approve the attached resolution recognizing the Armada Area Historical Society as a nonprofit organization operating in the community.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion?
I'm just gonna say, as the president of the Historical Society, Sam put a lot of work and effort into reestablishing the Historical Society as a, not only a 501c3 with the state, but with the federal government, the IRS. The Historical Society over time had just, the people running it had forgotten that they needed to submit the appropriate paperwork on a regular basis to maintain their status, and Sam dug into that. Took her several months to do it, worked at it very diligently, and the IRS has now granted us that nonprofit status, so that the Historical Society can truly be all it can be. So,
Good job, Sam.
good job.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks for all the
Thanks
work,
for all
Sam.
your work.
Michelle, you're filling it out.
See, we can always use some,
You're filling it out.
somebody is willing to step forward. You know, we're glad to work with you. You work with us. Great people.
You got a motion?
Yes,
Yeah.
you wanna, we don't,
No, we don't need
Wow,
one.
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think Lyle's gonna stay.
I'll second. Not once, Lyle.
Next is the planning commission appointment.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that it be resolved to comply with the President's recommendation to appoint Al Padjak to the Planning Commission to a term ending December 31st, 2024, subject to the appointee meeting the qualifications set forth in Chapter 11 of the General Law Village Act.
Number two.
Support.
Supported by Cohen.
Oh, Conan.
I was leaning forward and you were leaning backwards.
Yeah, well, there you go.
It worked.
Story of my life.
Remember too. We
Jeff, is it
remember
chapter 2 or chapter 11?
Chapter 2.
2, it's chapter 2, Mike. I can.
Oh, I'm sorry, I said Chapter 11.
That's all right.
I'll take the correction.
Yeah, no.
Don't hit me.
Instead of going bankrupt.
Lyle,
Better day.
you're voting yes on the Historical Society, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's my next one.
Okay.
We're not roll, just.
No, we, let me call you. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Aye. Next is to allow the DPW supervisor to auction the old backhoe on bid corp and to establish a starting bid on the highway, Chris.
Yep.
Do we have a new one? Yeah,
Yes, we have the new one.
all right.
So I talked to Dave about this and about what you guys, what he thinks would be a good starting bid. He told me 20, I think it's up to you guys to set, because, you could put it out there and just say best bid and somebody could get it for $10, so we don't wanna do that.
Yep.
So,
And at bid corp is the one we don't get to put the right of
Yes.
refusal.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah, that's all, yep.
Chris, you talked about with us on a dealer. You think dealer would sort of help us with a bid on a new?
That
or
is
deal?
where Dave was getting his feedback from.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Yeah, he had a couple of places like Van Pamel and Bell, and he did that.
What years are old one?
95, I apologize, because that's with my old other page,
Dave did not know that,
95.
he couldn't tell me that.
It's a middle, I would say middle 90s.
Yeah, because we put a lot of money into that.
It's got some new tires
It's
on the
got-
back.
Yeah. When we had that overhaul, that was a lot of money.
It's gotta be older than that, cause it was here when I got here.
It's really
He
old.
can get it.
That's really
Well,
old.
was 90.
what Dave told me,
It was 93.
He's got a serial number on it.
he said it's got,
Yeah, I mean, I have the registration.
8,961 hours on it, 8,961 hours on it. It's got 2 buckets.
Mhm.
Probably rolled over.
He said at the bare minimum 10, So, but he thought you should be able to get about 20, but I guess, you know, whatever you guys want, I mean, you gotta price it to sell, but you also don't wanna give it away.
Yeah, because machinery today, gentlemen, is very, very expensive. And it's, even though it's been used, we put so much money, we should have put money into new one then, instead of that. Because Lyle and I was part of that. And then when, well, I can't say totally what we think, but the thing is, it was extended beyond with a need.
All right, so Mr. President, I'd like to make to approve the sale of the LV 75.B New Holland backhoe, including 2 buckets, through advertisement and bid solicitation on an online auction site with a starting bid of $20,000, and to authorize the DPW superintendent to accept the highest qualified bid received.
Support.
In other words, you will be involved with this also on the bid. Can we add you?
I was gonna say too, but do we also, Michelle, do who else do we need down here about getting the bid and securing the deal?
Well, Becky puts it up, she has the access to bid for, so she sets it up,
Oh, there she is. Okay.
yeah.
Alright.
This just gives,
To accept it, should it be Dave? I mean, I didn't know it should be Dave doing it, but
well,
it
it
needs
should,
to
I
be
mean,
me
I think
and
it,
or,
Truly, if we put a starting bid on Bidcore and somebody bids that, we can't not accept it.
you cannot
Right.
accept it, right?
right, if you
As
start
long
with
as
the
they meet
starting bid.
terms
Right.
of-
That's why I went with the 20 is the.
If we, you know, look, if nobody bids at 20, you put it back up later for,
Yeah, or whatever, yeah,
Yeah.
come back at it again.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Renewal.
not for that.
Okay.
Well, actually,
But that's better than money.
That's
We're not
spending.
Actually, not spending.
no,
Money coming in.
I was just reading and thinking. And I think I got hurt. Oh, not really. Okay, what is the council wishes to?
You've already got that.
You got the motion in a
In
second.
a second.
I
Yes,
got the,
motions?
yep.
Yes, what is it to avoid? What is
All in favor?
Council, all in favor?
Aye.
That's what I should have said. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I was thinking, well, with money,
Yep. Yes, I was too.
money and brain, money and brain. Okay, next is approval of McComb Orchard Trail Connection temporary construction easement. What is
Okay, so we were speaking about the county just a little while ago. So we've been working with the county now for the better part of the year to secure an easement in the Macomb Orchard Trail to allow an access way or trail connection to be put in close to Church Street. There really is no official access egress route off of the trail at Fulton Street, but that's where everybody goes, and that is you all know, it's highly trafficked, a lot of industrial activities down there, and it's plain dangerous, right? So I've often seen people depart down there. Most of the time they're riding the sidewalk, sometimes they don't. I wouldn't ride on my bike on the street down there, because you got heavy truck traffic and all kinds of stuff. In any case, we've been negotiating back and forth with the county for the better part of a year to get them to allow us to put in a trail connection. Now, this is just getting permission to do it. There's nothing in here about cost. We had thought at a point in time that the county was going to come in and help us with funding this. They're not able to. However, we're in discussions with several organizations to either partially fund or fully fund this. So what I want to do tonight is just get approval, hopefully by council, to sign this temporary construction easement. temporary construction easement has gone through an evolution over time. I thought we explained it well back last December when we first started talking about it, that we didn't want responsibility for any connection that we put in after it was put in. The language that came out restricted us in some ways and then made us responsible for it. So we had to go back to the drawing board, and Jeff's been part and parcel to this the entire way. I think we've got now what we are looking for. It seems to be very favorable to us. It doesn't have a real time limit for us to put in an easement, but the responsibility to do any of the construction work is ours. Has to be to county specs or trail specs. Not surprised by that. We have to put in the signage that they would expect on the trail. Don't necessarily have a problem with that. What we've gotten out of the original document that was produced was any real responsibility to maintain, repair, or have liability insurance over the trail connection once it's put in. So we put it in, really reverts back to the county. Now, why is this advantageous for the village? It's a heck of a lot safer, and there are potential economic benefits out of having people shunted off of the trail on Church Street, which, as you know, turns into Burke Street and goes up to the fire department, and then there is a access road that goes right behind, concrete sidewalk, that goes right behind the fire department and gets you to the township trail. So Church to Burke, you can go through the entire village, goes past really everything in the village with a slight little deviation to the fairgrounds, but you go past Carnegie Library, the downtown, the village park, the police department, the library, village businesses, fire department, gets you to the township park, and if they're smart up there, they'll put in a little trail through Nichols' property to Ackett's. And in any case, this easement, temporary construction easement, allows us now to do that. At the cost of $1. That's and what do you call that? That's a
Consideration.
Consideration. Thank you. I don't think we even pay that. That's just notional. I'm going to make a motion to approve the Macomb Orchard Trail Connection temporary construction easement agreement with Macomb County and allow the council president and clerk to sign on behalf of the village.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion?
I would just say, once we sign, if we go forward with this, once we sign, then we will get it to the county, and I've been assured that they will sign.
Very good, thank you.
And if you ever go forward with getting it from Steve to get to Hackett, you have to make it public and encourage everybody to put baskets on their bikes, because how to hold it high and drive by.
Absolutely.
All right.
Ready for a vote?
Everyone in favor?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Thank you all.
And Rush, you said he was off the books, right?
Agenda item.
Good.
I said he pulled that off, so.
Yeah.
So Kevin, maybe, what, 2 years or so in the making? Right from the first time I remember you bringing it up.
All right, up and coming agenda. Anybody have any?
This is me.
I do.
Yes, please.
We already did the resolution to open the SRF bond account, so that's already in the works. However, we didn't do signers because we were so close to the election, we didn't know who was going to win. And is won now, so bringing back to the next meeting will be approval to set the new signers for all of the accounts. And my name will be on.
This is finger pointing.
I'm gonna bring back well house number 6 at the next, hopefully I've got a quote in hand by that time. I know what the cost is gonna be, but I want you guys to see the paperwork.
We're good.
Have you got one quote, or are you gonna get more quotes?
These are the same guys that have done all the other well houses, and so I'd like to keep it,
Well,
it's under 10,000. It's, the amount that they're gonna ask for with DPW support of it, is $6,340.
I think that's pretty steep for a game exhaust fan, I really do.
Well, they gotta procure the equipment, Ron.
I know,
Procure the equipment and do the wiring.
I know, I'm in that game.
Commercial exhaust fan, well, we won't talk it here. We'll talk it at the next meeting.
Can we get some more talk to him after the
We'll take a look.
It's not an agenda item, so
No.
Yeah.
that's what you're doing, is putting that on the agenda.
Right.
Just do it next time.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, we can talk to him after. Okay, once again, our floor is opened up with citizen comments. This is your chance.
May I speak?
Surely, sir.
Sorry to do this to you, Joe.
Glad to have you.
But I
you're
never
really gonna make
regrets if I
her
did.
cry, Curtis.
Good evening, council. My name is Curtis McBride. You guys know me as the village auditor. I'm here tonight, though, to support Joe, and I'll be briefer than my audit presentations.
Can't we light her up? Where's your thing? We'll just light her up.
So, the village of Armada was my dad's first audit client back in 1975. And I was here at a meeting with him, it must have been 15 years ago. I'll never forget, he thanked all of you for taking a chance on a 24-year-old kid when he was starting his firm back in 1975. Here I am in 2022, thanking you for the same thing. The village of Armada was the first audit job that I went on when I was 20 years old, 22 years ago. And, thank you, Joe, for your trust in me. It's the lessons I learned with my dad here on this audit, combined with your trust and belief in me, that allowed me to gain the confidence I needed to grow as a professional and develop throughout my career. And I know that I wouldn't be here today without you and the support you gave me early on in my career. So it's important.
Highly recommended. Very, very proud.
It was important for me that you knew that here in your final meeting. So it's been a pleasure to work with you, and
You as well.
I know you'll still be around, but I'll certainly miss you being here. So thank you for everything, Joe.
Thank you.
Good. And going back, how true, I was here when his father was here. They say I'm a piece of Armada. So I've been around, I heard your dad talk, wonderful job then, and we still have good memories of your father. And so the thing is, she was good, and the previous clerk, treasurers, all worked with your dad. Very excellent presentations from him. So I have to remind the good Lord about him.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And your service has been tremendous. Your company has been tremendous. Anytime she's wanted something, when she's talked to me these past years, it's always been very fruitful, very fruitful. So we always got the answer that we wanted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. So, good family. So, anyone else like to address the board? I'm getting away from my minutes of the meeting, because I'm noted to go fast. So, this is a good meeting, honest, good meeting. Council comments at this time? No council comments?
Well, again, I'd like to thank Joe. I was one of the original ones that, when you came on, and that job from when Joe came on to now, it hardly even resembles itself. It's grown so much. She's taken it from like a handwritten
Ledger.
ledgers and
Great
books
big
to
black thing.
computerized it. We've developed a lot more accounts. She's been a fantastic asset for this community. And there's been times where, you know, the council wanted to do things, and she says, you know, guys, we're not really quite in that position that we should be moving on with something. I really respected her advice. We had many discussions over the years. We didn't always agree, but mostly did. But looking forward to working with Ann, but gonna really miss you, John.
Thank you. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate the support of all of you. You've always been there for me. You've always taken my recommendations with respect, and I hope Ann enjoys the position as much as I have all this time.
Well, I always say to one of my favorite people, you know, if you don't do what I say, I might have to take your chewing tobacco away from you. So, that's not a good, it's not a good one coming from me.
He's kidding, man. He's kidding. He's not
Yeah,
kidding.
he wouldn't take it.
So, but really, I think it's been a real pleasure to have you people come in, be with us, and to honor her. So,
Thank you.
with that, one more hand, please. Good, thank you. Community events, any the council wants to,
Just the parade.
Not till December 3rd.
December 3rd.
Thanksgiving's coming first.
So we'll have
Everybody forgets Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving comes first.
one more parade before our Christmas parade and our December meeting. So, we don't have a closed session tonight. And at this time, I'm gonna entertain a motion for an adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
Oh,
Move to adjourn.
What time? What
Well,
time?
12.
Let Lyle do it.
You're not as good as
Much
Lyle.
more power.
Yeah, I already had Ballard written down. All
I
right.
did too. I did too. It's like, Dave doesn't know the time.
I want to get Lyle on that.
Any further discussion?
I did.
If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.